Hey everybody, welcome back to Slinging Dirt on this week's episode.
This week we got the Ray Houck Memorial at Adams County Speedway.
Yep, we're going to be talking to PJ Pedersen, the track announcer at Crawford County Speedway.
We finally get to hear Jamie's thoughts on this live stream.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. And a whole lot more, so stay tuned. It's Slinging Dirt. Hey everybody, welcome back to Slinging Dirt this week. I'm Buddy Ray.
I'm Matt Dennis.
So let's get straight to it. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. Big news out of Adams County Speedway.
Yeah.
The Ray Houck Liberty 50.
Yes, longtime promoter down there, Ray Houck, 2 years ago passed away.
Has it been 2 years? Wow.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it's been 2 years already.
Yeah, he promoted Adams County for 6 years.
Yeah, I knew he promoted Adams County. For a while, I didn't know if it was 6 years or 20 years.
Yep.
I've only met the guy probably 6 times, if I had to guess.
I met him a handful of times. I didn't meet him a whole lot. Did talk to him quite a bit, and he was a straight from the hip, no BS. This is how it is. If you don't like it, don't come back.
If you didn't know Ray Houck, one of my most loving memories of Ray Houck, we used to do a promotion over at Joe's Karting called Joe's versus Pros. And we got this lobby full of drivers and fans and stuff like that from Adams County Speedway. Ray Houck was the last one to show up. And when he walked up, I kid you not, he had a pair of like Timberland, those tan Timberland boots. He had a pair of those on with the socks that had the bands, the color bands going around, pulled up with these deals, some cut off shorts with the little strings coming off of them. He had a coat on and the world's biggest mouthful of chew, I think it was beech nut, that you've ever seen a human being chew. And he walked up with this big old beard, and one of my cashiers walks up to me and goes, "Bud, we got a problem." I go, "What's that?" He goes, "We have a homeless guy that showed up." And I looked at the homeless guy and I was like, "Oh my God, that's not a homeless guy. That's Ray Houck." Treat him very well. But Ray Houck, like you said, he was straight from the hip. He didn't pull no punches. You had to take him for what he was. And to me, he was a great guy.
Yeah.
He had a lot of respect, and he had a love for Adams County Speedway that was just through and through. He never took payment for anything. He donated equipment, time, talked to the fans, the drivers. And then he unfortunately he passed away, and when he passed away, I can't remember if it was cancer. I think it was cancer, but I'm not for sure. But what better way to honor him than the Liberty 50?
Right.
Which I think they already had the Liberty 50, but when the Liberty 50 came around, they just renamed it the Ray Houck Liberty 50. But his favorite class by far was the late models. Loved the late models.
Every week, week in and week out, he'd do what he could to get more late models in there. And car count at Adams County has dropped over the last 2 years now. But Ray's favorite was the late models. And with this Ray Houck Memorial, they're really starting to push it and advertise for it to bring as many cars in as they can.
Yeah. Well, this year's race, 50 laps, 5,000 to win. That's pretty darn respectable. Hopefully we can see 40, 50 late models down there at the Ray Houck Memorial.
That'd be nice.
I think we were talking this weekend, we're gonna try to get down there.
Yep.
Maybe interview some drivers, I think it'd be cool to get some fans at some of these tracks. Instead of talking to the drivers and promoters, let's go talk to the fans. Maybe go up in the cheap seats, smuggle the camera in, maybe get a beer and just kind of shoot the BS with the fans a little bit from their perspective. Why not?
Yeah.
So, but at any rate, try to get down to Adams County Speedway. It's Corning, Iowa. It's the Ray Houck Liberty 50. This is going to be a late model race you do not want to miss. I do expect to see all the big names there. You're going to see your Pospisil. You're liable to see your Kyle Burke. You're going to see Chris Speaker.
John Hampel will be there.
John Hampel's going to be there. Robbie Kaziski, Andrew Kaziski. I mean, it's going to showcase some of the best talent in the entire Midwest at this Liberty, this Ray Houck Liberty 50. So, tell you what, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be right back here on Slinging Dirt.
This Saturday, June 25th, Adams County Speedway pays tribute to one of the greatest Midwest dirt track promoters with a Ray Houck Liberty 50. This will be a $5,000 to win 50-lap feature race for the late models. Support classes will all have increased purse as well, with modifieds running for $500 to win. Pro stocks chasing $400 to win. B mods and hobby stocks both trying to cash in for $350. And even the compacts battling for $150 to win. All classes will have increased pay all the way to the 24th finisher. Ray was a driver at Adams County Speedway in his early years, and he enjoyed the Adams County Speedway and had been the promoter of the Speedway's racing events since 2009. Grandstand admission is only $20 for adults. 7th to 12th grade, $10. 6th grade and under are free. Pit passes are only $30. Gates open at 4, 6:30 for hot laps. Be there as Western Iowa pays tribute to one of the greatest dirt track promoters with a Ray Houck Liberty 50.
Everybody, welcome back to Slinging Dirt. Right before we went to break, I had mentioned Robbie Kaziski in the late models. It's actually Brian Kaziski, drive 52.
Correct.
Big yellow 52 late model, and he is bad fast. So I just wanted to clarify that. One thing that we wanted to talk about, we had talked about it last weekend, and actually several weeks now, is the rainouts. Now we have what, I don't know what you call it, I call them dry outs. It's hot, it's dry, they cancel. We were talking about this weekend, working on the car. Stewart International Speedway in Stewart, Iowa, they, on Saturday at about 2 o'clock, said that they were going to cancel 24 hours ahead of schedule because of the extreme heat and temp. Your thoughts?
I think it's a good idea, honestly. I mean, it's 95 degrees outside, 100 degrees outside, 105 degrees outside, whatever it is. Nobody really wants to be out there in that heat for that long, whether it be sitting on your porch or it be in a driver's suit, working on a hot car. I think they're actually a good idea.
Yeah, I seen a local track here in the Midwest. It was 3 years ago, I want to say now. Same thing, 24 hours ahead of schedule. They had canceled the races. It was 101, 102. And the promoter, I'll never forget this. I was like most people, I'm like, why, it's hot? Ooh, whoop-de-ding-dong, let's just go ahead and race. It's not a big deal. Well, then his explanation is let's say we get, a big car count. Let's say we get a lot of fans, but I have that one individual that has a heat stroke and die in my stands. Was it worth it? Nobody needs to die in this sport.
Right. It's a business, it's a risk.
Yeah.
You either run the risk of somebody potentially having a heat stroke or you run the risk of it not happening. So
right.
I see what he's saying, but all in all, I agree with it.
I do. It's as a driver, it's no fun to go out there and sit in a car when it's 95 to 100 degrees out. You gotta remember, folks, when it's 95 or 100 degrees out, a lot of us are thinking, well, it's just that, it's 95 to 100. You go down in the center, the infield of a dirt track, that 95, 100 is now 110 or 110, 115.
Right.
We're not even mentioning the humidity yet. And then we're putting on our suits, our helmets, our gloves, and we're sitting in the cockpit of a car. Most of our cars have headers that blow directly, the exhaust back onto us in some way or shape or form. And so now you might as well add 15, 20 degrees to the air temperature. And as I'm mentioning, no one needs to die sitting in the stands watching us. no driver needs to have a heat stroke either.
Plus, you have the safety safari that they're constantly suited up the whole night.
Yeah, and when you think about the safety safari, think about ID Speedway. I call them the Minion crew because they look like the Minions. But with that being said, they're standing on the back of the truck. At least the drivers, when we're on the track competing, we don't have a true windshield or side windows. All that air is trying to come through the car. Now granted, it's still hot air, but the safety safari, if there's no caution, they're literally just standing
still.
there. Standing still. There's no air movement with them. The only air movement they might get is if Brian Kaziski comes whizzing by, with his late model and throws a little bit of a draft their way. But outside of that, it's got to be miserable for him.
From what I understand the other night, it was Andrew Kaziski that was whizzing by fast enough.
Yeah, Andrew got a win.
He did. Winston, Missouri, I-35 Speedway.
Wow. So yeah, I am all about the dry outs, as I call them. But with the dry outs, at what point do you say, okay, we need to cancel? Is it 95 degrees? 90 degrees, we can race. 95 degrees, I think a lot of the tracks can race. But when you start hitting triple digits, even if it's forecasted triple digits or heat indexes of triple digits, then I'm all about, okay, we don't need to race.
I don't even think I'd go off of what the air temp's supposed to be. I'd go off what the heat index is.
The heat index.
I mean, it could be 95, but the heat index could be 115.
Yeah, especially when you got like 90% humidity. I mean, it's just miserable. I actually applaud the tracks. I know tracks down in Oklahoma and Kansas and Arizona and whatnot. They're like, oh, you big weenies, we race when it's 115. Great, you're down in Arizona where it's 115, but you don't have the humidity of the Midwest.
They're in a part of the country where 95 feels like wintertime.
Right. Kansas, I could see Kansas canceling some tracks because the heat index, Oklahoma, Texas, heat index, sure. But I like your idea. Go off the heat index, not the air temp, but the heat index. So my body doesn't know it's 95, but my body sure as hell knows when it feels like it's 115 out.
I mean, we had brought up just a little bit ago in the beginning of this about how soon do they call it off? Do they call it off an hour before, a day before? At least give enough notice. Not this whole, hey, we have hot laps at 6 o'clock and it's 2 o'clock and we decide, no, we're not running.
I honestly think 24 hours might be a little premature. Even though I like the cancellation due to high heat, 24 hours is a little premature. We do live in Iowa, Nebraska. This is Midwest. We have seen it go from 90 to high 60s in a day. I mean, that's nothing out of the ordinary for us. But with that being said, if hot lap time is 5:15, 5:30, let us know by 11. Because there could be people driving, 4 or 5 hours to come race at your track.
Right.
If you give them a 4 or 5 hour window, actually about a 5 to 6 hour window, that's even better.
Well, especially if it's somebody that they're not local. They just on a whim decide they want to come over and race at whatever respective track they're going to or something like that. But even if you jump on your Facebook and you live stream it real quick, hey, here's the update. We're not going to do this. We're not racing today.
That's even better. Live stream it from your office, your home, the track. Live stream it. Tag some of the better named drivers at your racetrack. It'll spread out like wildfire. Problem solved.
Right.
So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk with PJ Pedersen, the track announcer at Crawford County Speedway. And boy, did we talk about a whole bunch of things with PJ Pedersen.
Yeah, that was a long interview.
Yeah. So stay tuned. It's Slinging Dirt.
Hey guys, I'm Jeff with DriveDirtCars.com. Does your current race operation look like this? Well, if it does, give us a call at 815-990-2657. We're actually financing Harris Race Cars and CMC Crate Motor Connection crate motors for your racing operation. Our payments range anywhere from $200 to $350 a month. If you'd like to get a new motor or you'd like to get a new chassis, give us a call, 815-990-2657.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Slinging Dirt. PJ Pedersen, we don't have a true driver's interview, but we have what I think is a very good interview with PJ Pedersen. He is the track announcer at Crawford County Speedway. That kid has been watching races almost as long as we've been alive.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we're older than him. So, but anyway.
That's how good he is.
Yeah, that's how good he is, and that's how well known he is. But PJ Pedersen has got an overwhelming wealth of knowledge when it comes to Western Iowa racing. And the one thing I will give PJ Pedersen credit for as a track announcer, a lot of the announcers show up at the tracks, they legitimately love racing, but they don't know the drivers on a personal level like PJ does.
Right. PJ makes, I guess not really makes it a point, but makes it a point to personally, physically walk up to the drivers, the crews, the teams, and actually introduce himself and talk and mingle and have a good time.
Well, a lot of the drivers up in the Denison, Iowa area, he literally grew up with. He went to school with them, he graduated with them, he did all kinds of stuff with them. With that being said, one of the cool things, you're gonna hear about this in the interview, something I don't see a lot of people doing is the live stream of the pre-race show.
Right.
That is brilliant on PJ's part. That will get people to come up to your track. You know, if somebody's living 25, 30 miles away and you've got a track announcer as one of your friends on Facebook, track announcers, take a page out of PJ Pedersen's book. He's live streaming, not the races, but the pre-race show, talking about who's doing what, who's moving where, the points battle, stuff like that. And it's building excitement and interest into Crawford County Speedway.
Right.
I think that's brilliant.
And he mentions in the interview that he brings in the nightly sponsor if he can get them in there.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, the nightly sponsors are at the track anyways on that night, so.
Sponsor spotlight is what he called it.
Yep.
Yep. So, tell you what, enough about us. Here's PJ Pedersen with this week's interview.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Slinging Dirt this week. This week's interview, you guys have seen him last year. He's larger than life. His name's PJ Pedersen. How many times do people call you Peterson?
Almost all the time. I'm used to it.
Yeah,
I'm just. They ask me, well, which one do you want? Just either one. I don't care.
So you're the track announcer, PJ, over at Crawford County Speedway. And before we go into that, you've been offered a role in possibly announcing at some other events this year?
Yeah, I got to a couple weeks ago go up and announce in Fort Dodge for Jamie Songer's Supreme Enduro Series, and nothing's official yet, but it sounds like I may possibly, hey Cooper, be doing some more with him. Maybe go up to Fairmont, Alta, maybe Algona. And that was an awesome time up there. And then Bob Adams from Adams Motor Company in Denison, he's a big part of the Western Iowa Pullers Association. He had me do their season opener in Denison.
No, that's tractor pulls.
Yeah, that was the Saturday after we were supposed to have the USMTS in Denison, which unfortunately got rained out. And I might be doing some more with him too. We're talking about that. So
Cool. If you guys are noticing, we're actually in the house here at my house. The reason why we're not in the studio is one, the studio's closed today. The reason why we're not in the race shop because it's 185.5 degrees out, so it is air conditioned in here, and it feels a lot more comfortable in here.
You know, I said yesterday, I was telling everybody there's a 100% chance, today's a 150% chance of swamp ass.
Yeah, it's bad. You know, and last week you and I had talked about keeping the cars cool, keeping your body cool. I mean, you can't stress that enough on days like this.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and here it is in June. We're going into July. Wait until what August is gonna bring.
Oh yeah.
You know, but it's weird. You get a really hot August, and like September, it just drops.
Yep.
It's weird.
Never fails. It's always that way.
Unless you go to Boone and then you get desert heat, you get Arctic cold, you get tornadoes, you get snow, every time I've gone there for a week, it's like you see every one of the seasons in about 5 days.
That just adds to the party atmosphere of the Super Nationals. That's
Oh
all
yeah,
that
when it
is.
floods and the beer's flowing, God knows what's gonna happen at Super National.
But no, you brought up a good point, staying cool and everything. That's why I made sure yesterday, once I got off work, I immediately made a video, posted it saying, hey, drivers, crews, officials, crowd, everybody, start hydrating. And as much as everybody wants that fun atmosphere, beer is not the answer.
No.
Which I don't care if we lost a bunch of beer sales last night, as long as everybody was getting their water, Gatorade, staying hydrated. And then last night on the microphone, I told everybody, watch out for each other. If you see someone looking like they're not feeling well, take care of them. Make sure they're getting something to drink. Get them in some shade. If you have to, go out and get some paper towels, wet them down, put them on their head, what have you. But make sure we're watching out for each other.
So let's get back to Crawford County. We've got 3-4 nights of racing in already. Three nights of racing in. Give us your opinion. Who's looking good? Who's struggling? That kind of shocks you. Give us an overview of the track so far.
Well, one of the biggest surprises is, number one,
I came back? No.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Actually, the biggest surprise is he's passing cars. I'm actually seeing it with these eyes here.
Cooper even got excited.
Yeah, he's actually passing cars, folks. But no, Cody Thompson won our season opener, and I believe he finished second or third in our second race of the year. He's not around anymore. He actually has now gone out of the Sport Compacts. He ended up getting a sport mod, or it was an A mod from Notaboom, Jay Notaboom, and he's going to put it together, run sport mod. Another one is someone that Cody and Tyler Thompson have brought with them this year, Jake Newsom in the 423. That kid, first time ever getting in a sport compact, and got his first Crawford County feature victory, his second of the year last night, and oh my God, that kid's just bad fast. The Stapleton brothers, they're showing the exact same thing they've been showing. Another one in that same compact class that also surprises me is a kid named Justin Toft from Carroll in the 47. He figure 8 racer. He's done well there. Decided to jump into the sport compact class. 2 weeks ago, if he wouldn't have broken the spindle, he was actually going to mix it up with the Stapletons and the Thompsons. And he was looking good last night until he broke the steering. So if he can keep the car together, watch out for that kid. Another one is, unfortunately wasn't there last night, is Kid Smooth Shane DeMay. Obviously, it's documented that he made the switch from BMS to Harris. And
I actually think he looks better in the Harris.
Oh, ever since he got in that Harris, I've known Shane for a lot of years, and the more he's tried working with BMS and the more he's had struggles, it's just kind of beat him down. He jumped in that Harris, and there's a spark in him that I haven't seen in a long time.
That first night at Crawford County, that first night that he was at Crawford County with the new Harris car, I would have to totally agree. Watching him go down in the back straightaway going into turn 3, you could see that his confidence was there. I mean, it was pretty cool to see.
And see that turned around on May 20th. He actually ran second, and there were 3 or 4 times where he was actually taking it and challenging Abelson for the win.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, he went up to Algona Thursday night for a Hawkeye Dirt Tour race, and the car's kind of in Boone getting front stub work because somebody spun in front of him the whole field and nowhere to go. So he wasn't able to run last night, but once he gets that car back, I think it's going to be awesome. The big jump to stock cars all of a sudden is another big deal. Justin Nearing started it. He's a 2014 Hobby Stock champ at Crawford County. He moves up to stock car. Now all of a sudden you have Willie Ransom, Terry Irwin Jr., and one that surprises me because the season's already started is our 2016 or 15 Hobby Stock champion Kevin Bruck. All of a sudden he moves up to the stock car class too. Seems like a lot of the guys are moving to that class, which is great because that class is just, in my opinion, the best out there with as far as action. Now we're adding these other drivers there. The only thing that concerns me is how's that going to affect other classes like the hobby stock class or other classes that these people are jumping from.
I've always said the stock car class is probably the funnest class to watch.
Oh yeah.
But the names that have moved up to the stock car class, when you have guys like Bruck, Willie Ransom I think took second here a week or 2 ago.
In Harlan, I believe.
Yeah,
so.
Shelby County Speedway. Willie's a great kid. He's a super cool kid. I liked talking to him, hanging out. We've always given each other crap. back in the sport mod days. When he went to hobby stock, he was all right in the hobby stock. I wouldn't say he was setting the world on fire, but all of a sudden he's in the stock car class and he takes the top, 2-3 at Shelby County. I was like, I had to reread that 3 times. I'm like, Willie Ransom is up there. Wow.
Well, and with that, even Tanner Powers, when he had his sport mod, Tanner Powers could hold his own in the sport mod, but he stepped up to the stock car class, and he had his off nights like everybody does, but he still had a lot of very good nights, making it into tech.
And it's funny that you mentioned Tanner Powers because guess whose car Willie Ransom bought?
Tanner Powers.
Tanner Powers. So, I mean, that car is no slouch. Definitely. I mean, the car's there. Willie's just trying to finish getting used to it, as is Nearing, as is Bruck, as is Terry Irwin Jr. And they're starting to pick it up, and you can see the improvement. Not that they're having any bad runs. They're constantly getting that improvement.
The one thing I noticed about the stock car class, it doesn't matter if you go to Shelby County, Crawford County, Eagle Raceway, EIO Speedway, but you don't see the field get spread out.
No.
You never see that. I'm not saying that they're all sitting on top of each other, but it's not going to be unrealistic to see 3-4 wide racing at any given track with the stock car class.
And it's not very common in the stock cars where you see the top 2 cars straight away ahead of the rest of the field.
Right.
They may be 4 or 5 car lengths, but it's still close enough somebody else can get up there.
Well, speaking of 4 and 5 wide racing, the hobby stocks last night, holy crap. 3 or 4 times they went 4 wide, and they tried at least twice to push it 5 wide, and that don't happen in that class, but that was amazing. And another big, I can't really say it's a surprise, but Jason Cole early on is just showing that, hey, if you want this championship for me this year, you go through me. He's already won 2 of the 3 races, and I think he finished 4th in our 2nd race of the year, so, I mean, he's already showing his dominance.
Jason Cole, if you're watching, we want to come after you.
As is 2 guys in the sport mod class, which are Doug Smith and Jake Sacco. Sacco's now 2 for 3 after last night.
Yeah, Jake Sacco, wow, who'd have thought he'd been that fast? I tell you what, though, that edge car he's got is working really, really good.
Well, that's the car that he started off last year with, and it got wrecked. So while that was being fixed, he bought Justin Zeitner's A-Mod, Edge A-Mod, and turned it into a sport mod. And had some good success with it, but that's the same car that he started last year with and was running really good. So, but he's won 2 of the 3. Doug Smith won the other one, and Doug Smith, last night, perfect example. Doug Smith was right in front of Jake, and they were towards the back of the pack. Jake just got in behind him, followed his tire tracks all the way through the field.
And Doug's always been a good competitor. I mean, obviously, he's one of the Smith boys, so it's in his blood.
He's going to be fast.
If he doesn't finish tech, something broke.
Yeah.
And with Jake, who'd have thought he was going to turn out to be this type of a driver? Because his first few times in a car, it was just something to do, give it a try. And now he's one of the, I'm not going to say one of the big dogs, but he's one of the true competitors you have to deal with.
If I'm going to show up at a track and I got to race Jake Sacco, I'm bringing my lunch, my dinner, my snacks, my Scooby treats. I'm bringing everything I got because Jake Sacco is no one to slouch around with. You better be on your A game.
And he's picked it up quickly. Like you alluded to, Matt. The first couple of times it was just something to try out. Josh Most gave him an opportunity. Hey, turn some laps here. Him and Evan Nemitz both started about the same time. And unfortunately, Evan didn't kind of have the same success that Jake has found, which is, it kind of sucks because Evan's a great guy, and he can wheel the car. It's just parts breakages or caught up in somebody else's stuff. He's kind of scaled back, whereas Jake has just started skyrocketing.
Yep.
So let's talk about the schedule there at Crawford County. There's a little bit of everything. Now, granted, we've had 3-4 nights already, 3 nights of racing. You had the talk about the demos, riding lawnmower demo derby. I've never heard of that.
I'll tell you, I was a little skeptical when they announced it was going to be a 2-night demo, even with the big purse they had. Oh my God, that was amazing. The Friday night portion of it, the full weld guys were doing their qualifying heats and whatever. They were hitting pretty good.
They have qualifying heats in the demo derby?
Oh yes.
I thought it was just go out there, tear it up, and see who's
no.
Demo derby has a whole setup just like we have.
Oh.
They had heats. They had consies. The sport or I keep calling sport compacts. The compact guys are just compacts. they went out and they hit harder than everybody else that night on Friday. I swear to God they did. But they also had kids' Power Wheel demos both nights, which were fun to watch. And like you alluded to, on Friday night, they had lawnmower demos. Now, once I heard lawnmower demos on this deal, I'd never heard of it before, so I looked it up on YouTube. And it's exactly what I saw on YouTube. These guys literally turn these lawnmowers into Briggs & Stratton powered tanks. They got side plates, they bulwark the front, they bulwark the back of it, and they are not afraid to crank the throttle all the way up and just power hit. It was
How
amazing.
hard can you power hit at 8 miles an hour?
Okay, perfect. Oh no, they pull governors and everything out, make these things faster.
Okay.
But there was one guy, I mean, he had steel plates on both sides, had the front end bulwark, but he didn't do the back. Somebody come up, power punched him in the rear, which I think contributed to it, and then someone at the same time power punched him in the right rear. Next thing you know, right rear tire goes from this to done. And he had probably the biggest tank out there.
Wow.
And it was done. Saturday night, of course, they had the 8,000 to win for the full weld. They had the what they call the bolt and chain class, and then they also had pickups. And those pickups, let me tell you, they were awesome. They had one guy had an old, God, I want to say late '60s Dodge, and he was just slamming everybody. But I mean, it was great crowd, amazing action. My favorite part is the track didn't tear up one bit. There, obviously, it's been documented. There's been a few problems with some parts of the track, but they pounded that track into submission for the USMTS guys mainly. But because they did that for the demos, they slopped the top of it. It never tore up, never rutted, never chunked up, nothing. And it was a pretty sizable pit, so that's what I mean. But it was an amazing night. But I mean, we've had the SLMR series come in. That was an awesome race. Of course, Kyle Burke won, but he had to earn it in the last couple laps.
Right.
Plain and simple. We've had the SummerSlam Demo Derby. Unfortunately, we lost the USMTS, and I hate that because I love that class when that series when they come in because they always put on a great show. And we had the Ironman, B-Mod, and Stock Car Challenge that was going to come with them. But right now, we're pretty much starting our big stretch run. We are going to be every Friday night, as long as Mother Nature plays ball with us, until July 22nd, which is the week of our fair. We've decided we're not going to do our weekly show because we want to help out Joe Koziski and not compete against him because why would you compete against Silver Dollar Nationals?
Right.
Dumb. But we are bringing in the Nebraska 360 Sprints that Friday night. So, I mean, we're still going to have something. And then after that, we have, I believe it is 2 more weeks of regular season racing. August 5th is our final points night. Then the week after that, we take off for the Night of 1,000 Stars in Britt, and then we come back on the 19th of August for the Denny Hovingate show. Then from there, we're also off until October 1st for our Oktoberfest show.
You know, I want to take a quick break, but when we come back from break, I'm going to ask you a question about these tracks. So, I tell you what, everybody, stay tuned. It's Sling and Dirt. We'll be right back here with PJ Pedersen, the announcer from Crawford County Speedway.
Joe's Karting is the Metro's fastest indoor karting facility. Come to Joe's to experience speed, join the competition, and ride the fastest indoor track around. Our professionally designed indoor karting track is perfect for arrive and drive racing, race classes, and racing competitions. We offer affordable pricing options, membership packages, event outings, and so much more. Stop in today to get registered for your next race, and don't forget to like us on Facebook for deals, giveaways, and more. Visit us online at joeskarting.com.
All right, welcome back to Sling and Dirt, everybody. We still have PJ Pedersen here in our house where it's air conditioned because it's 185.5 degrees outside. I'm just making that up, but it feels like 220 degrees.
It doesn't feel like it's not very far off.
No. So right before we went to break, you were talking about how on the Friday night of the Silver Dollar Nationals, you guys are going to run the Nebraska 360 series. Mm-hmm. You talked about how you guys are going to take the week off, or you're going to work with the track schedule with the Night of 1,000 Stars.
Right.
How important is it in today's racing, you think, as a track announcer, that these tracks have got to work with each other on their schedules?
As saturated as we are in this area, eastern Nebraska, western Iowa, with tracks, it's imperative. When I talked to Rod Olson, our race director, and he told me basically laid out what the plan is, we're going to work with Joe Koziski at I-80. We're going to work with, I apologize, I can't think of the guy's name that runs Brett, right offhand, but we're going to work with these guys, and they're going to take some of their nights off for us, and we're going to take some of our nights off for them. My first thought was, holy crap, why aren't other tracks doing this?
Well, for a long time, that's been a topic, especially with drivers, was, I want to go here, but I want to go here, but I need to go here, but I have to go there. And for a long time, the tracks basically told each other, we're going to do what we're going to do, and you guys are out to lunch. So now that tracks are starting to work with each other on that, not only does it make the drivers happy, because now instead of having to figure out this or that, but now you've also got the fans that can go to the bigger events.
I was just getting ready to say the fans.
Instead of missing something big because, my local place is running.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's imperative, and I hope that other tracks, obviously we're going to be able to work with Park Jefferson and Buena Vista County Raceway because our race director runs both of those tracks as well. So, I mean, that's not a problem. But, I mean, I would love to see us work with High Banks Promotions in Shelby County. I'd love to see us work with Greg Golden at Raceway Park and Blackbird Bend in Ottawa. I would love to see us work with Corning a little bit. Maybe work with Boone, with Marshalltown, and some of these other tracks. And even if they don't work with us, work with other tracks in your area to make things a lot better, because ultimately it's going to have to come down to either doing that or we're going to start losing tracks again.
Do you think there's too many tracks?
Honestly, I do to a point, because Friday night now we have I-80, we have Marshalltown, we have Crawford County, and then as of last night, Blackbird Bend reopened, which Blackbird Bend had a seriously low car count. We had a low car count. I didn't hear about Marshalltown, how they did. I know you had said I-80 had a pretty sizable, but that doesn't surprise me for them.
Well, and you still have Beatrice also on Friday.
Yeah,
yes,
Beatrice.
yes. And on Saturday nights, I mean, you look at Saturday nights, you've got Eagle, where I'm heading to tonight. You've got Shelby County. You've got
McCool Junction, York, Nebraska.
Norfolk's in there somewhere too.
Yeah, Norfolk.
Park Jefferson.
Park Jeff. There are so many choices for tracks, and we've all alluded to it before. It's draining car counts from everybody, because you're going to have some guys that are going to come to Crawford County. You're going to have some guys that, we want to go to Marshalltown. You're going to have some guys that are, we're going to go to Eagle. Well, okay, you go to Eagle. We're going to go to Yosemite Sam Speedway.
It's nice to have so many options that we do here in the Midwest, but at the same time we have so many options, and now, like you were saying, car counts are going to be less at every track.
Yep.
So, and I'm not saying I want any tracks to close by any means, but if we could kind of consolidate some of these tracks, even if they figured out a way where it was alternating every other week, track A this week, track B the second week, track A the third week, and even if they run a competition point series between the two tracks. I know I-80 and Corning used to do that.
Crawford and Shelby County used to back in the day when Tom Gutowski had it. From the time we reopened in '89 until, I think when Howard Mellinger took it over, and I can't think of what year that was right away, we had the Western Iowa Championship Series. It was between both tracks. But the thing about it is, like you said, it's a plus and it's a detriment at the same time. Now, I know at one time Blackbird Bend was possibly talking about running Thursday nights. That would have been perfect for them. They could have gotten more cars in. Because on this side of the state alone, you would have had Alta on Wednesday, Blackbird Bend Thursday, then you could have gone to either Marshalltown, I-80, or Crawford County on Friday night.
Well, if you're an IMCA guy, it would be Marshalltown or Crawford County.
Right. Your Saturday night, pick your track there, and then, for the most part, Sunday around here is either going to be Raceway Park or Stewart.
Right.
Well, and even on Sundays, you can, if you want to make the 3-hour drive from Council Bluffs to Omaha, you can go to Lexington.
Right.
Yeah, but when you start getting into your modifieds, then, Iowa and Nebraska, it's own territory for the A mods. So if you had, Blackbird Bend on, Blackbird Bend's still Iowa, so if they went to Thursday, man, you'd have a nice little 5-day swing right here just on the western side of Iowa for all classes. Right. I mean, that was brilliant.
And then if they would, be able to ever get the IMCA sanctioning back, that'd be another IMCA track to open up for the guys that want to run national points.
There's enough tracks you can almost run like an I-29 point series, because 3 of the 5 would be right there.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, because you'd have Raceway Park, Park Jeff, and Ottawa. You got 3 tracks right there.
Yeah, all within 30 minutes of each other.
The only place that they would really have to contend with would be US 30 in Columbus on Thursday night.
Yeah, but that's in Nebraska.
Right.
So if you're like A-mods, well, no, because Park Jeff and Raceway Park, that's Jefferson, South Dakota.
That's South Dakota.
Right.
Yeah, so I got to thinking about that just now, but I mean, still, you could still easily do a series right there, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday swing, boom, done.
And go to Stewart on Sunday.
And go to Stewart on a Sunday. So if you're running a sport mod where we don't have regions, you could run 3 nights a week and honestly run for a national championship.
Oh, yeah.
Legit.
Well, and even with the regional thing on points, if you could pull a 5-day swing during the week, look at Chris Abelson. He ran South Dakota track last year. He was running Raceway and Park Jefferson, still claiming the national title. I don't know where he wound up with his regional title and his state points, but it still allowed him to take the national title.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing about it is, what a lot of people may not realize is he can do that because Park Jefferson Speedway is on this side of the road leading into Jefferson, South Dakota. Raceway Park's on this side, and you're only looking at about maybe 12, 13 miles from the Iowa and South Dakota border from Sioux City to get there. Right. So, of course, that makes plenty of sense to run up there.
Yeah, and between the 2 tracks, you literally, like, looking across the table.
Yeah, that is exactly right. If you are parked at Raceway Park, you can see the back of the grandstands at Park Jeff. If you're in the grandstands at Park Jeff on the top, you can turn around, look behind you, and see right across the road to Raceway.
Speaking of Park Jeff, I do want to clarify, when I was at Crawford County, I had, 4 or 5 fans ask me this. They did not tear down the grandstands at Park Jefferson.
No,
the big grandstands are still there. I want to make that clear. They're still there. So I do think they may rebanked Park Jeff just a little bit. Nothing major. They didn't make it bigger. They didn't make it smaller. It's still Park Jeff. But the grandstands are definitely still there. Which,
yes.
If you haven't seen Park Jeff's grandstands, I think they're pretty badass.
They are.
I like them. I think they're probably some of the coolest grandstands I've ever seen in dirt track racing.
Yeah, and if I was
awesome.
if I was announcing up there, I'd only have half the amount of stairs to walk up every frame.
Yeah, Dennis. I've told you this a million times at Crawford County. They need to put an elevator at the back of the grandstand.
Even a dumbwaiter, I don't care. I'll pull my way up. I don't care.
Yeah. So this year, for the rest of the year, I tell you what, I want to change gears. Boy, everybody's going to roll their eyes, and you're going to start laughing when I ask this question. What's your take on the live streaming?
Well,
now, before we go into that, I just want to point this out. Here about 3-4 weeks ago, I had brought up live streaming on my Facebook, and can we all agree it blew up?
Yes.
It blew up. Everybody said I was full of crap. It made no sense. Who's my sources? Nothing's credible. Guess what happens?
US 30 has now banned live streaming from the track.
Right. I understand, so the reason why I say that is because everybody thought I was full of crap. I wasn't.
No?
No, it was coming. I was just kind of warning everybody about it. The live streaming, I see the pros and cons. And from a promoter standpoint, I don't necessarily think it's all about the dollars. I think it is an insurance deal. I mean, Matt, if you and I are brothers and I go out there and I'm in a 4-car pileup and all of a sudden somebody's live stream said Buddy Ray's dead, is that how you want to find out how your loved ones died?
No.
No. But if you're the insurance guy and you're insuring that track, now all of a sudden you're the insurance guy, you're insuring that track and you're right away, well, where's the flag guys? What was the track? And it just opens yourself up to a lot of liabilities. But now, on the flip side of the coin, Kevin Lenz, who I want to get on Slinging Dirt,
Yeah.
he's like a super fan. Kevin Lenz, he goes to Alta, Iowa. He's live streaming the races. I've heard about Alta. You've been to Alta. I've never been to Alta. I've never seen the track. All of a sudden, I didn't realize how freaking wide the track surface is at Alta. It's a big half mile, and I swear, I think you can go 9 wide through the corners at Alta, Iowa. You're already smiling over there.
I had fun when I was up there.
It's
Yeah.
basically the closest thing you're going to come to a high bank dirt version of Martinsville, Virginia. Because it legitimately is a paperclip. You have 2 drag strips with 2 very high banked, tight turns on that track. It's
Well,
interesting.
When Kevin Lenz is live streaming from Buena Vista Raceway, well, I thought about going up there, but as soon as I could actually see the racing action and see just how wide the corners were, well, lo and behold, guess where I'm planning on going now? So in live streaming at that point, did it work?
Yeah.
Yes, it worked in the track's favor. You're going to gain another driver. I don't know if I'm going to race there weekly, but you got to figure.
It's only a 3-hour drive on a Wednesday, one way.
Well, maybe from Glenwood, not from here. Well, no, it might be
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours, yeah. So I got to looking at it that way. But I do see both sides of the issue. Now, if I'm live streaming an event and somebody comes up to me and says, "Bud, will you put the phone away?" Yeah, I'll put the phone away.
Yeah.
I'll be nice. But no, if they're not going to squawk about it, I'll live stream because it is kind of nice. My mom can't go to the races. That doesn't mean she's a freeloader. She's 60-some years old. She has health issues. She can't go to the races. Just for her to go to Denison, Iowa, it's a 175-mile one-way
Yeah.
ticket. At that point, would you expect your 60-year-old mother to go?
No, not especially if she's having health problems on a night like last night.
But now, with that being said, are there freeloaders out there that will abuse the privilege? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You can't ever get away from that. But when you have a loved one that can't go, or I was reading my comments, and there's people that have family that live in Florida. They're not going to drive from Florida up here for a weekly race. So if you can live stream it, so be it. But also the live stream, 90% of the live streams that I've seen are not clear. They're pixelated at
Right.
best.
Right.
But it gives you the gist of what's going on.
Well, even like I had said on the show when we had Doug Erickson, when we came down to Adams County, same video right off my phone, 2 different Facebook pages. One was pixelated, one was crystal clear.
Right.
Oh, by the way, Adams County Speedway, you can live stream. They have made that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you are allowed to.
And Songer has put it out there for any Supreme Enduro Series event you go to. He doesn't care if you live stream or not. Hell, it's free promotion for him, so do it. Just so you know. But no, to get into your question there, kind of a little bit of a backstory. When I had talked to the Racers Board, after I had talked to him and gotten everything set up for okaying, greenlighting the Fan of the Week contest, the Fan of the Year contest, I got to thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I did my pre-race shows and live stream them? That way, because we do have a lot of people
That will pull people into the track.
well, and there's a couple of that come to mind right now. Randy Richardson and his wife Mary Joyce, who are my good friend Joe Laddiehoff's sister and brother-in-law. They, because of Randy's job, moved to Texas, but they still have all these cars that they love, drivers they still love from Denison, and they're thirsting for anything. I've got some old classmates of mine that aren't in the area anymore. They want to know about it. Plus, we've got people that are still kind of on the fence, do we want to or not? Well, let's give them some information. So that's why I started live streaming that. Now, May 20th, kind of what happened in a nutshell was I had some people over the week talk to me about, well, I don't know if we want to come back. There's been previous things that have happened, and we don't know if the action's going to be any good. So with the help of Joe Laddiehoff, we kind of live stream a few of the heat races. Nothing major. We're never going to do any of the features, and it backfired because the board really didn't know what was going on. So we went ahead and talked things through, and now I'm back live. Like last night, I was live streaming the pre-race show, and it helps especially with the sponsors, because I have something that actually I've never seen any other track do. I have a sponsor spotlight segment, which is a 5-minute segment for the sponsor of the night's event to come up, talk about the business, talk about whatever. But now they can also be seen on Facebook, which gets it to a wider array. Reese Auto Parts last night, Shaw Recycling the last time. It gets them more out there. Plus, then we also had Justin Nearing on talking about jumping up to the stock cars. It just it throws it out more. It gives more information for people that aren't sure if they want to come or can't be there.
Well, and with you doing your live stream before the races, that's the same exact thing that Corning does, Adams County Speedway does with their pre-race show.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is
It's on radio.
Yeah.
they're on a radio station and you're on Facebook live with a video feed. But it's the same exact thing.
And I've tried starting to pave the way with our local radio station, KDSN in Denison, they used to have a From the Pit show, a half-hour pre-race show every week. And I've been trying to work with them and see if we can come up with something, because that would be awesome if we could do something like that again.
Get it back to the way it was.
Because we haven't had that since it was back in the big track. Back in, I think, 2004 was last year they did that. If we could do that now, that would be just simply amazing, and it would add a whole new level,
So why don't you just do a live stream from the pits? If you're doing your pre-race live stream from the grandstands, why don't you just have a volunteer go down to the pits with a camera and just live stream a pit show from in the pits?
I've actually been kind of toying with if I can get the drivers on board to maybe do after the races, go down there and try to gather up the feature winners and do a quick live stream with them. Now,
That'd be cool.
Whether they'll do it or not, because they're already getting a mic shoved in their face once by the lovely and wonderfully talented Michelle Sacco in Victory Lane.
Suck up.
But if they're willing to do it, I would love to do that, because then I could kind of real quick go through the top 5, do something quick with the winner, and get that out there as well.
Right. Tell you what, if somebody wants to get a hold of Crawford County Speedway, look at their schedule, see what's going on, what's the best way of doing that?
ccsdirtracing.com, or if you go on Facebook, and we've gone over this before, Crawford County Speedway, Denison, Iowa. Make sure you throw the Denison, Iowa in there, or you're going to end up at a Crawford County Speedway in Arkansas. If you see video and there's pine trees in the background, not Farmland Foods, you're at the wrong page.
So Crawford County Speedway, Denison,
Iowa, and ccsdirtracing.com, where you can see all of the great pictures our track photographer Dave Schrader takes. He's also our social media guru, so he handles all that. And
So racing every Friday night?
Every Friday night until July 22nd, when we have the Nebraska 360 Series, and then we have 2 more points races after that. Denny Hovengay on August 19th, Oktoberfest October 1st.
Gate admission?
We did go up $1 this year. $9 for adults.
Shouldn't have to watch the finances on that one.
But here's the thing: we did go up $9 for adults. But what we did is students are $5, and current and former military are also $5, as well as senior citizens. And then I believe it is 6 and under or get in for free. I think it's like 5 or 6 get in for free. But
if 6 and under get in free, does that mean if Jamie Songer shows up in a sports bra acting like a little kid, he can get in for free?
Well,
they may charge him triple just because it's Jamie.
Well,
Yeah.
Songer, somebody that you've had a problem with before up there is no longer in the hobby stock, so you have no excuse to come back. Get up here.
I'm back there. So I'm back there. So
Come on, Songer. You got no excuse. Get back up here.
with that being said, PJ, thanks for coming on, giving us an update with Crawford County. I appreciate it. We'll check back with you here at the end of the season, see what how the points championships are looking. At this point, I'm so far out of the points picture, it's not even funny. But
You know what? I wouldn't count you out yet, because that razor looks better and better every night. If you can keep
up
belts on it, I think you're gonna do a whole lot better. Like I had said earlier to both of you, last year was transmissions. This year it's belts.
I'll break belts all day long over transmission.
yeah. Although the belts on that razor aren't the easiest to change either, when you got to take the whole front of the motor off to change.
But it's a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot cheaper. So, tell you what, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna be right back here on Slinging Dirt. So stay tuned.
car smell as bad as Jamie Songer does? Come on down and we'll take care of you. Where we're gonna scrub all your vinyl, we're gonna clean all your seats, your carpet, everything. We're gonna put a conditioner on it, make a nice shine. It's gonna last for a long, long time. Then we're gonna head to the outside of your car. We're gonna do a nice hand wash with a buff with a nice hand wax finish. Call us at 282-4339.
This Saturday, June 25th, Adams County Speedway pays tribute to one of the greatest Midwest dirt track promoters with a Ray Houck Liberty 50. This will be a $5,000 to win 50-lap feature race for the late models. Support classes will all have increased purse as well, with modifieds running for $500 to win. Pro stocks chasing $400 to win. B mods and hobby stocks both trying to cash in for $350. And even the compacts battling for $150 to win. All classes will have increased pay all the way to the 24th finisher. Ray was a driver at Adams County Speedway in his early years, and he enjoyed the Adams County Speedway and had been the promoter of the Speedway's racing events since 2009. Grandstand admission is only $20 for adults. 7th to 12th grade, $10. 6th grade and under are free. Pit passes are only $30. Gates open at 4, 6:30 for hot laps. Be there as Western Iowa pays tribute to one of the greatest dirt track promoters with a Ray Houck Liberty 50. Everybody, welcome back to Slinging Dirt. You've alluded to it. TJ Pedersen in the last segment with his interview, he talked about the live streaming. Like this, folks, you're in for a treat. Promoters, don't hate us, don't hate him. So. But here's this week's episode of Songer Says talking about the one and only live streaming. Check this out.
Warning, the related content may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, so this live streaming ban people are going to. Somebody please explain to me why the hell you would ban something that is getting your product out there. I don't get it. I mean, okay, so maybe Grandma Susie Q that lives 150 miles away isn't coming to your racetrack to watch her grandson race. Okay, who cares? You might lose 4 or 5 people from the live streaming for one show. But if the racing is good and you put on a good show and it's live streamed, you could possibly gain 15, 20, who knows how many people, if it's live streamed by the right people, that you could gain for your rest of your races. And from what I've seen, unless you're Eagle Raceway in Nebraska, every last one of us needs more people at the track, more cars, more whatever. So say you live stream and it's side-by-side racing, 3 wide for the checkered flag, the whole race is competitive. Do you know how many cars you're gonna pick up after that? Now the downside is if your track is single lane, follow the leader repeatedly, okay, now you could lose some cars. But you're gonna lose those cars anyway because we all talk. I mean, if I go to a track that's single lane, follow the leader, week in and week out, I tell people they don't go. Or if I go to a track where they continually tear me up, I tell people they're smart, they don't go. Even for big money shows. But this live streaming to me is getting your product out there a little more. And, you know, who knows, you might pick up a couple people who've never seen a race but are on somebody's Facebook. Imagine if I'm live streaming at your event and I have over 10,000 friends on my Facebook. You're gonna pick up some drivers or a couple fans in the stands off that. I don't live stream, so it's not gonna happen, but I mean, I don't get it. And what are you gonna do? Take my cell phone? I mean, evidently these people, they're a bunch of Bernie supporters and think we should all get paid the same 1st through 20th. I don't get it. You're not taking my phone, my guns, or anything else you want to take from my possession. Good day.
Good old Songer. He's got a very good point. Oh my God. So somebody's live streaming from the track. Yeah, you might lose the 4 or 5 people, but you're liable to gain 20 some people, you know, by the live stream. Case in point, Kevin Lenz. He's live streaming Alta, and then all of a sudden I realized just how wide Alta is.
Right.
guess where I want to go now? I want to go to Alta. I knew Alta existed. I've seen pictures of Alta, but I've never seen racing action from Alta, from the grandstands. And so when Kevin's doing that, I was like, my God, you could go 9 wide down the front straightaway and through the corners. And even Rod Olson, I mentioned to him, I was like, I can't believe how damn wide, or how wide that damn track is. And he goes, honestly, bud, neither did I until I got there. And so I told him, I was like, when I seen the live stream, that enticed me to go to Alta. We heard about Doug Erickson when I was live streaming from ID Speedway. That helped Doug Erickson make that cognitive decision to come out for the weekend and go race ID Speedway.
Well, not only that, when Doug was here that weekend, we had put Doug's heat race up on Facebook, and at the end of the night, here's one phone call and 4 drivers are coming into Omaha for the Cornhusker Classic this year.
Yeah, I understand that, you know, the tracks might lose a little bit of money to those 4 or 5 people. But like Songer says, when you got 12,000 people that follow me on Facebook, you're gonna get 20 show up.
Right.
That's pretty bad, you know, impersonation of Songer. But,
yeah, it was.
But with that being said, he's got a point. When you have so many thousands of people following you, somebody's gonna show up if they like what they see. Now, the other, I do like Songer's point though. Well, if you're live streaming and the track is bottom feeder, 1 lane, follow the leader, dusty, it's gonna hurt the track.
That's where the track works a little harder on their surface.
Yeah.
They start to implement the black flag, the move over flag, just basic, normal, weekly stuff that they need to be doing that they don't do a lot of times.
Yeah. So kudos to Songer. I agreed 100% with everything Songer says. Hey, and by the way, I do want to make this known. Songer does want you to live stream his Supreme Enduro series. He is all for it. He wants people to watch. So anybody out there, if you go to one of his enduro races, please live stream it. So he welcomes it. Adams County Speedway welcomes the live stream. They have no problem. I plan on live streaming when we're down there.
Like I said before, I'm gonna live stream at every track I go to unless I see it in black and white that I can't.
Yeah. So next week's Songer Says, we're going to have a meme contest. Meme, meme, whatever, however you pronounce that, depending on what part of the globe you're from. It's gonna be a photo contest. You're gonna have to include Songer in the meme contest somehow. I'm not gonna go in, but you're gonna have to stay tuned to next week's episode, because when we roll out this Songer meme contest, Songer, you opened up a can of worms you probably shouldn't have done when you sent the Songer Says. But folks, I will promise you, I think next week's Songer Says is probably the best one he's ever done.
It'll be for your pleasure to make sure to tune in next week and watch it.
It's, women particularly, take note. I could see a lady winning this meme contest
I could see Jamie getting divorced.
on that line, yeah. So, yeah, this is gonna be pretty good. So stay tuned next week. We'll have another interview. We'll have Songer Says. We'll have a whole lot more next week. So this has been Buddy Ray.
I've been Matt Dennis.
You have?
I have been.
Okay. So, and this has been Slinging Dirt. We'll see you next week.